Welcome back to Wrestling Travel Presents the Lockdown Sessions. Today we are very, very happy and honored to have with us So Cal Val. So Cal Val, how are you?
I'm so well. How are you? Are you keeping safe and busy, I hope?
I'm keeping safe. I'm keeping locked down.
Yeah.
It's raining here, so I don't have to go outside, even if I wanted to. But we're getting hold of you. You're over in the United Kingdom, actually.
I am indeed. It's so funny because I've been here for over 3 years, but there's some people possibly even watching this interview, hey y'all, that don't even realize I live in the UK, and I live about a half hour north of London. So I've been here quite a while, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was funny as I was getting prepped to do this interview. I say prep like I'm a journalist, but I'm like, here's two Americans. I'm in the USA, but you're in the UK, but I'm working for a United Kingdom company, and we're going to talk about a lot of different stuff today. So kind of, I don't know. And
Yay!
in honor of the So Cal Val, I've got my Bayside Tigers t-shirt on today.
Oh my God. Put your mind to it, go for it. Go on and break a sweat, rock and roll. You ain't seen nothing yet. If you don't know that song by Hot Sunday, Kelly Kapowski, Lisa Turtle, and Jessica Spano, then I don't know if we can be friends. That's one of the best episodes ever.
I'm impressed. Now, let me ask you this. This is totally way off our topic. Saved by the Bell, but did you also watch California Dreams?
Oh, with Sly? Yes,
Sly?
I sure did. See, this is, you know what's funny is a lot of the people over here they're not into, I always post these Zach Morris's trash videos and all this funny stuff. Yes. And they didn't grow up watching the same shows as I did. So weird story, which we should totally get cocktails and talk about another time, but we're already here, so why not?
Why not?
Remember the Saved by the Bell college years?
Yeah.
The girl who played, I believe it was Alex, who was Slater's new girlfriend, I met her at a Comic-Con, and she's actually married to a really famous actor that I believe was from Band of Brothers. And his wife comes in, and I'm like, I know her. I literally got chills just thinking about it. And then I said, oh my God. I went up to her later and said, I grew up watching Saved by the Bell, and I can't believe I'm meeting you. She doesn't really act as much anymore. And I was like, holy moly, it's Alex from college years.
That's awesome. Now, none of these questions were planned, obviously, but did you see when Jimmy Fallon did the Saved by the Bell reunion?
God, yes.
And then he did a California Dreams one, which I had to catch later, which was really cool.
Yeah, no, that was sort of, I was obviously more into Saved by the Bell. It was a much more popular show, but I loved California Dreamin', and I love all the actors, and it's so funny now to do Comic-Cons and sort of run into some of these people, and it's just like, oh my gosh, like, I sort of mark out either, like, I'm 0 to 60, either I respect and appreciate everyone that I meet, and at Comic-Cons, I do the hosting of the Q&A panels for the celebrities, and I think it's so great, but there are some people where, you can't have seen every movie or seen every TV show. But when it's someone from, like, my childhood, like, I interviewed Brendan Fraser, and I nearly died. Like, to me and my sisters, like, growing up on, like, Encino Man and George of the Jungle and, I don't know, every movie he's ever done, I was a mess.
Encino Man, very underrated, very funny movie.
Oh,
but that California Dreams, when Jimmy Fallon did it, that Sly dude is still jacked up to this day. I mean, he's...
I would expect nothing less from him. He was a shyster and a half.
All right. Meanwhile, everybody who's all into pro wrestling is like, what? Why am I watching?
Yeah, what are they talking about?
What are these two playing?
Google it, kids. We're just educating the children.
So we did the lockdown sessions because basically we're all locked down, and I wanted to kind of find out what everybody's been up to. I know you've got a project coming up, but we'll save that for towards the end of our interview. But what have you been really doing to keep busy these last few weeks that we've all been locked down?
Yeah, locked down, not just a pay-per-view. I'll tell you what, I have actually been enjoying it. Like, of course, I miss going out. I really miss traveling. That's it. I mean, especially I had, trips to Prague and Malta and different places. I just love that being over here in the UK, it's easy to just flit off to these beautiful destinations, which I think is probably my favorite part of living here, other than my husband. And UK is just historically and architecturally beautiful, but that's another time we'll discuss. But yeah, I miss traveling, but honestly being home, like, I don't have the excuse anymore of saying, oh, I don't have time to do that around the house. I don't have time to redecorate or fix things. Not that I fix things, I'm kidding. But organize things, I should say. I have a big dressing room. I film in it very often. It's usually what I call a floor-drobe, just like an explosion of clothes all over the floor. They do say creative minds that they're the ones that are untidy. So I take that and I accept it with alacrity. But yeah, I'm just getting organized and being really productive. And as we'll discuss, I've got a new project going. But even just for my own social media purposes and my sort of influencer stuff, I do hate that word, but I've done some styling videos and, you know, a lot of stuff with fashion and beauty brands. And it's just easier to dedicate time to working in my little home office as it is now, and getting back to doing things that I made excuses that I didn't have time to do. Now all I have is time, my friend. That's all I've got.
I have the time too, and I'm still not cleaning up. So I'll go with you on
Yeah, well,
the
there's always
creative
cocktails.
genius. And as much as you don't like the word influencer, I want to share with everybody. Last week, I got called a journalist. So we're just going to pretend that I'm going to keep it. I'm going to go with it.
I like it. It sort of conveys like images of like glasses and notebooks and, you know, very
But the glasses has nothing to do with the fact that the eye doctor has been closed for 2 months, and I can't put my contacts in.
I'm looking for my fake glasses. I very often wear like blue light glasses, which is supposed to help with blue light because I'm on my screens a lot. But to be honest, I just think they look cool. They make me feel productive. But I don't need glasses, but I think they're super sexy and fun. They're spexy. So I very often wear them.
Sexy, that's good.
Yeah.
So another unplanned question. So I first ran into you. I didn't really run into you, but Bud Carson's Pro Wrestling World in Allentown. Walked in there and they were doing you know, a bunch of people in there doing autographs and stuff, and I thought, hey, there was a room, you were in it, and I walked in and the guy said there was something wrong with the line, and he goes, I'm gonna put you here, you just stay with So Cal Val for a little bit. Now there's no way you'd remember this, but
I feel like I do a little bit now that you're saying it.
And we were like, you're like, let's take a selfie, and I'm like, this is like 2015, I'm like, I'm a cool guy. I don't take selfies. And we took a selfie together. I sent it over to Wrestling Travel. Maybe they'll post it on here. But I do remember when we're at these little meetings, they have all the pictures in front of you. Like everybody, all the women up there are always like, hey, choose a picture. Yeah. And I'm like, what unfair pressure to put on us guys? Because there's always like the sexy bikini shot, the really sexy other shot, and then like the normal. And I'm like, I want to know if you guys plan that out, because we have to kind of pick somewhere in the middle. We can't go with this is really sexy, we got to pick that one, or the one that's
funny you say that. I didn't know it was such a big I guess it would be, because you have to like tell me which one you want, right? So maybe you feel like
so it's awkward
or something.
And but now I decided, like, why was I so I'm just, next time I ever do anything like that, I'm just gonna go right with the most sexy one and be like, I want to be confident about
especially with me, because I literally was just shooting in my backyard. Like that's why my hair and makeup was already done. So thank God for that. I was actually literally just shooting in my backyard in a swimsuit. And I love doing it. I have a patreon.com/SoCalVal that allows me to have an excuse to do my own sexy photo shoots. I've always enjoyed it. I love lingerie. I love bikinis. I love getting all glammed up and playing dress up. That's what I've always wanted to do, is to just have a reason to dress up and be glam. And thank God for wrestling and modeling and presenting for me to be able to do that. But yeah, when it's funny when you mention all the photos spread out at a convention, because you get people that are nervous about which one to pick. And it's like, obviously I'm proud of the pictures I'm putting out. I don't care if you want to pick one that's lingerie, or you want to pick one that's more like a normal dress. Let's be honest, it's wrestling. They're all going to be a touch of sexy, even a dress, you know, it's kind of like flirty poses and things. But I especially am super proud of that, because I love the modeling side of things, but it must be nerve-wracking. But also people say a lot of weird things, like at least once or twice a day, once a day maybe, or once a convention, somebody will say, they'll look at all the pictures and they'll look at me and go, is this you?
Really?
First of all, insulting. And then secondly, I think, no, I'm just sitting at someone's table. Like, what? It happens all the time.
Wow.
Yeah. This you? No. She went to the bathroom. She'll be right back. Like,
I'm just.
Why am I sitting here, bro, dude? Come on.
Well, good. So what we did with that question is we made it. Now, all the guys watching this, do not be afraid to pick out that sexiest photo.
No, I've got more on So Cal Val's store, so you just hit me up and we'll direct you.
Absolutely, and we're gonna put all that up underneath this. We're gonna
promote
the heck out of it. So, what? We'll actually get on with the interview. What actually got you into the wrestling business? Like, what? How did you break in?
Well, my sister was watching it. I have two older sisters, and I'm probably the girliest of the three. It's just my two sisters and my mom and I, so it's just very much a slumber party, you know, girly, feminine household. And I was probably the girliest, still am. the most extra, I should say, out of the three sisters. I'm the youngest. And the middle sister was watching it with her friend Natalie, who my mom always says, Natalie, this is why she's still into that wrestling, because you and Jackie had to watch it all the time on the television. And they loved, like, my sister loved The Rock, and her friend Natalie loved Jericho. I was like, this wrestling's for boys. Like, I don't know what you're watching. I was probably 9 and 10 when they were watching. And I would walk through, and then I would kind of like keep peeking because I saw these like super feminine girls. I saw the cat in her like pink fur outfit walking around and little two-piece, and I would see like Terry Reynolds, and then I saw Stephanie McMahon. And she was such a brat. She was so shrieky, and but she always dressed really fun and glam, and she was a little spoiled brat, and I loved that kind of character. So I just fell in love with her, and I liked that she was sort of very like a strong female character, but really theatrical. And then I remember one of the first storylines that I loved, which I totally got to talk to Kurt Angle about, like any chance I got to, was the love triangle between Kurt Angle and Triple H and Stephanie. And me loving like drama and soap opera and stuff, I was like, this is amazing. When are they going to find out that this one's been with this one? And when are they going to find out that, all this crazy stuff? When is Stephanie going to get her comeuppance because she's being so mean? And, when is she going to get a pie to the face and a match that makes, So I loved the reasons of why they were wrestling. And then eventually I really started to appreciate the athleticism of it too. But I'm not athletic. I'm not a sports person by any means. So I just loved the pomp and circumstance, and mainly the divas and the diva photo shoots and stuff like that, which is why I said about the 8x10s, that's what I got into wrestling to do, was the sexy stuff, the talking, but also the acting and the diva portion of it. And it's a shame. I think people get a little weirded out with me because they think I'm kind of like wanting it to be exactly how it was back in the day. I'm not saying we need gravy bowl matches anymore, but I really do appreciate that back in my day, they had a lot more photo shoots, and they were kind of encouraged to be way more over the top in terms of dress and makeup and girliness and shooting photos. I think nowadays, if they gave the girls the options, they didn't want to do it, cool. But the ones that do, like Lana, for example, is one that I think is a fabulous manager. She's an acting background, so she's amazing. If they, had more themed photo shoots for her to do, I would love that. I think that's something I really miss with wrestling for sure.
Right. And I think a lot of us, even though I know they want to get onto the woman as an athlete and stuff, but a lot of us appreciate those sexier, nicer things.
Yeah.
Can't believe that's all coming out of my mouth right now, but yeah. So now being in wrestling has allowed you, obviously, the opportunity to travel. We're a company called Wrestling Travel. What are some of your favorite cities? I don't want to narrow it down to two, but what are some of your favorite cities that you've wrestling has taken you to?
Ooh, I have to say, when I look back on it, it does sound, especially to the average person that doesn't really understand how far wrestling can take you, which they're always shocked by, especially here, like in England. I live like, we go to a very small kind of village area to like, go to the pubs and stuff, and people are just not used to that sort of entertainment. And it's actually even funnier to explain what I do. I actually sometimes dread it because I'm like, oh Lord, here we go. But, wrestling has taken me to Iraq back in, I believe, 2009, Pakistan as recently as last year, Germany. I have always wanted to see more of Europe and see more of the world. So places like that are just like, I felt lucky the first few times I was flown by TNA or a promoter or, wrestling so-and-so's to have me come to a signing somewhere, have me go to North Carolina or around the country. I thought that was really cool. But now eventually it became a thing where now I'm getting asked to go out of the country into amazing places. That's all I wanted to do is, again, play dress up, travel, see the world, and experience different cultures and cuisines and things. And yeah, I feel really lucky to have done that. I literally will sit on planes. A lot of the guys that know me, the wrestlers know me, that I always like sit with my headphones and I look out the window and I cry. I was like, why are you so emotional on a plane? I'm like, I don't know. Because some of them know, but I feel like Austin Aries and I had that conversation one time. He's like, you're really weird. I was like, you're really Austin Aries. That's how that conversation went. No, anyway, so they would make fun of me because I'm like, I just feel so grateful. And like on a plane, I just think to myself, all I wanted to do was like be in wrestling and do all these great things. And I just get really reflective and I look out the window and think, my God, I'm being paid to do this. How did I get so lucky? I just feel really grateful. And there's something about a plane and the high altitude that makes me a little emotional.
No, that's really good to hear because, like I said, when I did run into you in Allentown, you can tell when people in the business actually appreciate what they're doing and appreciate the fans, and you could really tell. And it wasn't just with me. I kind of watch everybody's interactions with everybody, and you definitely have that good rapport with the
Thank you.
fans.
I
So
do the same thing at Comic Cons. I watch how people treat fans. Even like Drag Con, I'm a big RuPaul's Drag Race fan. If I'm too nervous to go say hi to someone, or I just don't want to bug them, I watch how they are with fans, and I think, wow, you can tell they're genuinely thrilled to be there, and that they're making each experience for each person really personal.
right, I had that with Sergeant Slaughter.
Oh,
Watching him, there was a story of when I was a younger kid, getting in the line with Sergeant Slaughter and it taking forever. And I
mm,
actually got an opportunity to tell Sarge this story at AEW in Chicago last year. And he says, you know why I take time for my fans? He said that when he was 9 or 10, he was in line to meet Mickey Mantle. And he was probably 5 from the front of the line. And Mickey Mantle said, yep, that's my time. I'm up. I'm out of here. And he said, I said right there to myself, if I ever am in the position where people want to meet me, I'm
yeah,
going to make sure I spend as much time. And I thought that's a really
yeah.
cool story from him.
That's such a cool story, but because it is inspiring. It's a shame that it happened, but then he would never go and make that same mistake again. I remember vividly, and I've talked to so many people about how I saw them and or met them as a fan. I mean, I waited outside of an arena a few times for autographs as like a 14-year-old, and I told everyone that I now know, like, how funny is it? Because I have no shame. I'm not going to be like, oh, I was a fan. I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled to be a fan or a mark, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, I remember the ones, which most of them, thank goodness, were really, really nice people.
Yeah, I take a lot of heat from some of the boys in the back, a couple in particular that I have pictures with them. I went to a show that I wasn't even on last year because Baron von Raschke was there. I met him as a kid, had his autograph, lost it. I went and I'm like, I'm definitely getting my picture taken with the Baron. That's pretty
Of
cool,
course.
So,
Yeah.
and if we weren't fans, we wouldn't be in it.
Never let anyone make you feel bad about that kind of stuff. Because who does that a lot? Like a lot of the wrestlers will be like, oh, Val, you're Martin. It's like, sorry, if you want to pretend you were never a fan, then what are you doing here? Like, I hate when people act like that. It's so silly.
Right. And it's memories. It's like I wish I had some of the guys that aren't even famous that I wrestled with back in the day. I wish I had we didn't have cell phones. We didn't have,
Yeah.
photos and stuff. I mean, I'm not that old, but I'm old enough where there was a
You're getting
point
that
where
Polaroid out, like
yeah,
just kidding.
that's what we would have had to, the guy with the has to pull the black cloth over his
Sure.
head with the camera.
An
Yeah.
oil painting.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're showing our age here, aren't we, Justin? No,
We
for oil painting.
unfortunately are, but we're getting better like fine wine.
Yeah.
So, what is the difference? Because we're a UK company, I'm the only guy from Wrestling Travel in the States. But what is the difference as a performer between fans, if there is any, between fans in the UK and fans in the USA?
I always describe the fans in the UK, and this especially was before they had. Now there's much more wrestling here. NXT is here, and we had WS wrestling, yay, here in the UK. But I will say that I know fans in Germany. I always thought this was interesting that when I went there, I remember I was actually in a bra and panties match, which I was enjoying. And Billy Gunn went out there and he was explaining to us, he's like, German fans are just a lot more respectful, and they don't chant as much. They're not going to clap as much. So like, don't think that it's you. It's not like we're in our bra and panties and you're being quiet. Like something's going to go wrong here. But no, so that was interesting. And they don't. It's just sort of their culture. They're just a more quiet. They don't really approach you. They're not like, hey, hugs and shaking their hands. They have a little more space. I thought that was kind of interesting and nice and respectful. And then the UK fans, I would say there's not much of a difference, only in the sense that they do seem hungrier because they're not as exposed to wrestling all the time. So in some ways they're actually more excited because a lot of them have never met you before, and they've never met, I mean, everyone by now has met me in the UK, but going on like TNA tours and stuff, it was like they had just been dying for Impact Wrestling to come to the UK, or when WWE comes, it's not that often. So I think if that's any difference, but they're all lovely. But I guess the UK, they're a little more, it's newer. It's more of a novelty to them.
Right, and they're fun to watch when we get a Raw or a SmackDown taping in the UK. It's fun to watch
Yeah.
the chants and the soccer or football chants going
Yeah.
on. On the other side of this global pandemic, I've talked to a lot of people about this. I do believe that fans are going to come out once the complete lockdown. I think we're going to have a great product. We're going to have exciting fans. We're going to have a lot of the guys and girls giving 110% because they've missed it so much. And once the social distancing is over, I really look forward to the rabid fans. So I do think they're going to get out there. They're going to buy the bra and panties 8x10s. I think that's
Here's
my
hoping,
time.
maybe it'll make people a little more grateful and a little more mindful, because sometimes, like I said, the UK now has a lot more, um, access to wrestling nowadays, but maybe they'll kind of harken back to that time where they didn't, and they'll kind of be a little more, I think we should all be a little more grateful for not just wrestling, but just health and life and times with our friends and hugs and whatever. So I hope that it changes for the good.
Yeah, because I was saying there's a lot of things that I didn't go to, even shows that were a couple hours down the road that I
Mhm.
thought I don't really have time. And now I'm like, man, I'm gonna go to ones that are 4 hours away now just to see my friends and just to watch wrestling live entertainment. So I really see that.
Exactly. And then
Um,
we'll all do that, and then we'll all get jaded all over again.
right,
So
and then we'll be like,
it's just the human way. It's like, oh, I'm so grateful, and it's like, well, I can go anytime.
I do remember right before the lockdown, I was like, it's like an hour and a half drive. It's a Friday night. And,
Yeah. I did
oh,
the same thing with going home. Like I call Orlando, Florida home. I've lived a lot of places, obviously So Cal, but Orlando, Florida is where I lived the most of my life. And like I kept going, okay, when I moved to the UK, I'm gonna travel home at least 3 or 4 times a year. Well, that started to dwindle. And then I was like, well, I want to go back in January, but I'm probably gonna go back for Mania because it's in Tampa and I'm from Orlando, and I didn't do it. And now I'm like, oh my God, I've not been home since like, I don't know, September of last year, which to me feels like 3 years ago. And I miss home a lot. I love it here, but I do get, I wouldn't say homesick, but I just do miss it a lot. And I just regret that I thought, oh, I just procrastinated and thought, oh, I'll go another time. Girl, should have just gone.
should have gone. I know our fearless leader, Lee McAteer, is stuck here in the United States because
Is he?
he's,
Hi, Lee. I
yeah,
don't know where he is.
he's got an uncle in Philadelphia. So
Okay.
he's staying in Philadelphia. I did offer him to come to Wisconsin here if he wanted to. But I know there was so touch and go, like, was WrestleMania going to happen? Was it not? That he didn't want to, we would have had a lot of if they would have banned people from the UK, which is our
Yeah.
business, everybody coming over, and then WrestleMania goes on, well, we're sitting on a lot of tickets that we're going to have to. So
Wow.
he ended up getting stuck here in the States. So,
Wow. He seems to
yeah,
like the States, so I'm sure he's okay. But shout out to Lee for keeping on trucking, because that's crazy. A lot. See, some of my family, my sister actually got on one of the last flights home back to Tampa where she lives. So she was studying here in Birmingham, and it's just like she was so lucky to get home because so many people have not. I have a friend that got stuck in Portugal. He was on a vacation, so it's just like, ew.
oh
Again,
my
you got to be
goodness.
grateful for what you have and grateful for your health and your safety, because not everyone has that. But it's just a drag, you know.
It's such
Indeed.
a crazy time. Like there's time, even now, even though it's been happening for how many weeks, so I wake up and it's like, what a bad movie we're stuck in,
It does
sometimes.
feel like Groundhog Day.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Yeah.
well, what I wanted to talk about and give you plenty of time, we're excited, and I just heard about it. My head has been stuck in my house, but you got a new project going on. Is it grown ass women? Do I have that right?
That is right. Grown ass women. So it'll be myself, Mickie James, and Lisa Marie Barron / Tara / Victoria. And we titled one of the posters for it Very Important Nonsense, because we don't want it to be just wrestling related. What you can expect from it, which I won't give too much away,
Mhm.
it's more like a girly talk show, and a lot of the content is going to be great for our fans that are loyal to us from wrestling, but we also want to integrate more of a female audience as well, and talk about career goals and relationships and everything from fashion to music and wine. And we all have very different hobbies and interests outside of professional wrestling, and we're all in different phases in our life too. So we talk about being a grown-ass woman because we often talk about, okay, in our 20s we could have known this and we wish we would have known this. Now, I'm 34. I've moved to the UK. I've been here about 3 years or so, married. Really trying to branch out of wrestling. And as much as I do enjoy the wrestling stuff, I really like to do presenting outside of it, do my fashion stuff, beauty. That's always been my big passion. And, Mickie is still with the WWE. So she's very active in professional wrestling. She's a mom. Out of the three of us, she's the only one that's a mom. So we have that insight from her. And of course, her husband, Nick Aldis, the champ. We have that wrestling connection there as well, which is really cool. And then Lisa is all the way in San Diego. So we're all on different coasts, or different, in my case, a different country. Lisa's in San Diego, and she's, getting back into the restaurant business, which she has a lot of history in. And we want to talk to her also about her fitness days and things like that. And she still does a lot of Comic Cons. She's big into the Comic Con scene. So, but again, she always talks about a life after wrestling. And that's what we kind of want to talk about on the show, that as much as we love wrestling, there's a lot more to us than that. we'll still have the occasional wrestling guest here and there. We've got some ideas for little segments that we might need to call a few friends of ours that you'll recognize. But we have so many different things going on in the show. Little games. We've got a lot of fan interaction. For example, we asked fans to submit video questions to us, and we've got tons of them already. They're so fun. We said, listen, as much as we love wrestling, make it silly, make it fun so we can have fun with it. We're doing shots on camera. We're promoting certain products that we love. We want to share with you guys. So it's really a variety show, and that's what I love about it. It's like, I don't want every episode to be the same. It's not, okay, this is what we're doing. No, we want every episode to be fun, and you'll see us we just crack each other up the whole time. It's impossible to watch this show and not have a good time, and that's the entire goal of Grown Ass Women. Of course, you can follow us on social media. I'll give you all of the info. I'm sure you guys will post that as well. And if you want to join the conversation with us, all you have to do is use our hashtag GAWTV. And we want to hear from you, because episode 1 drops on Wednesday, May 20th. And it'll be weekly, every single Wednesday at 5 p.m. We're going to be on YouTube. We're going to be offering a podcast version as well. But I'm telling you, with these two ladies, I'm not sure if you've met Mickie or Lisa, but they are a hoot. And I'm excited for people to see them, not just as, these wrestling superstars, but just being girls in our pajamas and whatever else we have in store to wear. You're going to crack up at some of our themes, let me just tell you.
Wow, that sounds awesome. Yeah, like you covered it, because I was going to say, as you started talking, it's so nice not to see like a one-dimensional pro wrestling. As much as we all love pro wrestling and want to hear some stories, but not that you get sick of it, but it's nice to see another dimension, another side of somebody.
It is, and to be honest, you're going to hear a lot of stories. Like we're just talking about, Mickie cracked me up with something on one of the shows. She was talking about the boys, how they use baby oil and tanner and how they shade in their abs, and I nearly spit my drink out. It was the funniest conversation, because there are these little like behind the scenes stories that you're going to get a lot of stories of the wrestling genre and of funny things that have happened. And again, we might have some guests that come on and corroborate those stories with us. But also, yeah, it's going to be different sides of Mickie, Lisa, and myself. And a lot of people are following us on social media already, but they might not be following all three of us. So we might be making a Lisa fan out of a Mickie fan. You know what I mean? So it's cool to have us all together, like in a slumber party format, and just and keep it lighthearted, especially right now. That's what we need, is to keep everything lighthearted and have it be a show that's escapism. Like I watch a show called Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen, which was a big inspiration for me wanting to do a show like that. It's a late night talk show. And I watch a lot of TV that I kind of feel like is just joyful and fun, like Real Housewives and Drag Race. And I watch it to escape the news and to escape stress in my life and whatever. And that's what we want this show to be. We want people to be interactive. We want them to be distracted from whatever stress they have, if only for the half hour or so the show will be on every Wednesday. So if we've made you smile, if we've made you laugh, and we've encouraged you to do a shot for the grown-ass women, then we've done our job.
Well, it sounds fun. It sounds fantastic. The one question I have about it, though, now, do Mickie James and Lisa, are they familiar with Hot Sunday?
Yes. And that's kind of the cool thing I have to tell you, is that I know this is a UK brand, but because I'm American and a lot of people don't get my sort of jokes and things here, it's actually really fun to talk to the girls, usually late at night, because they're on, Mickey's in Virginia, Lisa's in San Diego. So we're talking like an 8-hour time difference between myself and Lisa, for example. And to just gab with them we use Voxer all the time, and to gab with them on the show about stuff that like a lot of people here can't relate to, especially with the wrestling thing. I have a lot of new friends here, and that's great, but they're not from wrestling. And they're like, who are your crazy wrestling friends? And I'm like, you're going to find out when you watch the show. You'll totally understand me if you watch them talking for just a 5-minute period, because we're all just chatterboxes and high energy and excited about things. And we're just unapologetically ourselves. But you get one of us or two of us, but 3 of us at the same time is just bonkers. We should have just called it bonkers, to be honest.
Bonkers, yeah.
Welcome to Bonkers.
Awesome. Well, I don't want to take up too much of your time, even though I feel like we could go on for quite a bit. So I want to leave you with the opportunity to, and we'll get somebody who has a lot more technical prowess than I, but how can we follow So Cal Val and Grown Ass Women? And also, if I were somebody who wanted to maybe purchase an autographed sexy 8x10, where do I go to do that to support So Cal Val?
Well, I'm so glad you asked because we've just revamped my store. So it's ValerieWyndham.net/store, but basically it's easier to remember So Cal Val store. So So Cal Val store is on Instagram and Twitter. The DMs are always open so we can help you figure out, what you're trying to order. We just revamped all of the galleries. So there's, photos, there's event worn autographed clothing from TV that we've done. There's
Oh, wow.
kiss cards, a bunch of fun merchandise on So Cal Val store. And then, of course, with me, I'm big into Twitter. I love Twitter. It's probably my favorite. So Twitter, it's at So Cal Valerie. Instagram, which I'm using a lot more, especially IGTV, which full episodes of different things that I'm doing. That's official So Cal Val. And Facebook, I don't use so much. I do use YouTube with more of my influencing stuff. But GAWTV can be found on Instagram at GAWTV, on Twitter at the GAWTV. But of course, we'll put it all here. And if you have any questions, you can always message me on any of these apps because I'm such a social media person. I love tweeting. I love doing Instagram posts and photo shoots. And of course, if you would like to see more of the photo shoots and exclusives to my Patreon, it's patreon.com/SoCalVal. Send me a direct message when you join and we can chat about whatever you'd like. That's probably my favorite part about Patreon. I get to direct message with people. And yeah, there's tons of photo shoots there, music videos, and just, I get to be creative. And that's my jam. I just want to go in there and be unapologetically Val. And if I feel like doing a photo shoot in my backyard in a swimsuit, I'm going to do it just like today for Patreon. No shame.
No shame. That's awesome. And like I said, I can attest to seeing you out in your what do you call it? Your environment, in your element, and the communication with fans. So especially in this social distancing, the fact that fans can reach out on Twitter and on Patreon and speak with you is very cool. So as I said in the beginning, I have a hard time. I don't have a good ending. Got this Chris Farley vibe, but I want to thank you for spending time with us. And we're looking forward to Grown Ass Women, which we're going to get this up hopefully the day before Grown Ass Women debuts.
Yes, your timing was impeccable with that. So I'm so glad I got to talk about it with you before it airs or if it's the same day, that's cool too, because we are so excited for everyone to see this episode and we want to hear all of your feedback. And again, #GAWTV and just find us on social media because we want this to be a show that you feel comfortable commenting on and sending video submissions on. It needs to be a show for everybody. And that's what we want to make sure that people know that it's fan interactive. That's probably the biggest thing to take away from the show. So yeah, I'll see you on GAWTV. And I appreciate the interview. You guys, everyone watching, stay safe, stay healthy. And you, Justin, thanks for having me. Stay safe.
Alrighty. Thank you, Val.